ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UK League Championship. My name is Jake Hitbrain Matthews, and I'm joined by Dan Orcs Harrison as we bring you our 7th and final week here at the UKLC.
It makes me sad that this is our last week.
I know it's all over.
Or is it? Because we have playoffs.
We have playoffs. Yes, we actually have a great week coming up with all of the action here in the UK. Today and tomorrow is the regular Tower Challenge, the final and the 7th one. But on Saturday and Sunday, we actually have the finals for the UKLC. So our top 4 teams coming out of this week will go up against each other and look to try and claim that final spot at the European Masters. If you guys missed last week, Diabolus were the team who have at least claimed themselves play-ins. But they're not done. They want to get themselves all the way into the group stage and just skip play-ins entirely. They've earned play-ins just from having the highest points in the league. But if they can win the finals on Sunday, they actually take a group stage spot, and then the team with the second highest points will take that play-in spot.
Yeah, also the trophy as well.
Also the trophy as well. Yeah.
So there's that, there's the pride. There's a lot of factors. And even the teams who can't make playoffs, there's still a lot to play for. Bottom 2 teams will go to relegations. Currently, that would be Darkspawn and Bulldog if the ladder stayed the way it is right now. But, you know, it's up to change today. And then the other thing is we have just announced our next tournament, which will be in
40 Champions
in May. And seeding in that is going to come down to where you finish at the end of the UKLC. So teams still playing for that very much. So even if they're not able to make playoffs, every team has something on the line.
Yeah, a team like Enclave actually have at least earned themselves missing one of the rounds in 40 Champions.
If they hold their spot in 5th.
If they hold their spot in 5th. So there's still a bit to play for here. If you guys want to keep in touch with all of the announcements for the new tournaments coming out, who's winning what and where, you can head over to our LVP Twitter at LVPUK and get in touch with us over there using that hashtag UKLC. And if there were any games from previous weeks you've missed, especially last week where a lot was on the line,
no kidding,
you can head over to our YouTube channel, LVP UK, and you can watch back all of our previous videos from the older weeks.
Yeah, just, you know, watch it back. Probably not now, because we do have some big games coming up.
Oh, we have a lot coming up. There's so much on the line here, and I do want to get going on to that in a minute. But Diabolus are still at the top of the tower. We have a rematch, though, coming up from last week. So the week 6 still technically not done. We're about to start off week 7 with a week 6 match, as XL will be once again trying to ascend to the top and get themselves a spot at the top of that tower. If they can do so, it's going to do wonders for their points and at least try and get themselves second, because that's what they're aiming for at this point.
And then the big thing as well is that we're coming up to finals. A lot of these teams want to, we're on this patch 9.5, which will be the patch of playoffs. A lot of teams want to send a message. Yes, Diabolus have secured their first seed spot, but they want to come into playoffs looking like the strongest team, and so it's going to come down to their performances in this week as to whether people still think that's the case. Because first seed or not, you have to look like the best team right now for people to really fear you.
Yeah, and we actually do have, obviously, over on Twitter, the MVP vote, but we do here. And then we have the unsung hero for you guys. And before we move on with the show, I think it is fair that we announce that Haddo was our unsung hero coming out of Thursday's show last week for Diabolus. The support, very well earned for him. You know, we had questions about the man coming into the tournament. You know, he had a bit of a reputation for basically only playing Alistair and kind of doing a lackluster job. The guy is really improved and he's looking a lot better at the moment.
Haddo has been around for such a long time, and sometimes he gets criticized, but I think it's just the fact he's been relevant on top teams for a massively long time. He's won the split several times, but it really feels like on this roster, he's found his place working with the, not a rookie anymore in Yusa, but he's a more unexperienced AD carry. They've had a really solid bot, and I think, you know, he deserves unsung hero, not just for the last day of last week, but the whole split, because I feel like he's kind of been overshadowed by his teammates at times, but he's constantly putting this good performance.
Well, you guys at home will be able to vote for your unsung hero over on Twitter at the end of today's show. There is more coming up as well, though, on Twitter. If you guys spot our little Easter egg, which is a picture of me, Scoundrel, head over to Twitter and you can see which picture that is.
You just said that like a picture of me, Scoundrel.
Me and Scoundrel.
Yeah, you made it sound like me, Scoundrel.
I am Scoundrel. No, a picture of me and Scoundrel that will be tweeted out, well, put out on the show at some point. Make sure you screen cap it, use that hashtag UKLC, and you are in with a chance of winning the Bullet Angel Kaiser skin, the purple chroma, so the same one from last week, but more skins available.
Or you can do what a bunch of people did last week, and they waited for the first person to tweet it,
and then they just
copied it. So, you know, that works too, but just make sure you tweet out the picture to us that you have a screen cap, whether it's yours or not. And first 3 to do it will get that skin.
Now, I do believe we have a scoreboard to bring up. I'm not 100% sure. There we go. We do have a scoreboard. All right, let's have a little look at the points coming out of last week and where we are starting this week. With Diabolus, first point, that's guaranteed. They cannot lose that spot. They have 19 points. Fnatic Rising can at least earn 19 points, but due to tiebreakers, would still be second.
Yeah, they lose the head-to-head against Diabolus. So Diabolus have secured that spot, but the second, third, and fourth spots are very much up in the air. These teams could definitely earn enough points to mix things up. So all these teams still playing for ordering. And then below that, I mean, there's so few points between the other 5 teams. I think Bulldog and Darkspawn obviously have to win games if they want to get out of those relegation spots. But in terms of the seeding for Forge of Champions and just general where you want to finish the split, because we talk about what these teams are earning, but you just for pride as well.
It's relegations as well. Remember, the top 2 teams are in with a chance of being relegated. So
bottom 2 teams.
Bottom 2, not top 2. That'd be a bit weird.
That'd be an interesting design.
Our bottom 2 teams are in with a chance of being relegated. So, like you said, the points are very close in the top end, but they're also even closer in that bottom end. So there's a lot to play for still today, whether or not you're fighting for a spot in playoffs, whether or not you're fighting for your seeding in playoffs, or whether or not you're just fighting for a chance to actually remain in the tournament.
And that's the thing, if you're a team like Phelan, who are on 2 points, I believe, you can sort of be fairly confident you're not in the promotion relegations, but if Bulldogs go on a massive win streak, you could just find yourself there without even expecting it. So I feel like every team has to come into this and go, right, we want to secure our position and get into a comfortable spot.
Well, speaking of comfortable spots, we have a Chronicler standing by in the corner of the room, ready to break down more of the tournament.
Thank you. I don't know why they let me back on after last week, but you know, apparently they did. And here we are again to take a look at the bracket for today. And as already mentioned, we're going to start off the day with the tower rematch between Axel and Diabolus. Whether or not Diabolus are going to be successful in holding that top spot for yet another week, or whether or not Axel are going to knock him back down and have one of those two face Phelan later on. Then for a second match of the night, we have Barrage taking on Fnatic Rising. Mentioned previously, Fnatic Rising, of course, want to take that win, want to make sure that their place up in that standings. They don't get knocked down, they're already locked in for playoffs, but the higher seeding, the more comfortable you're going to be in playoffs. And Barrage, they need to make sure that they escape relegations, and a win here would be a really, really good start. Then we move on to Darkspawn and M&M, and there it's basically the same story. Both these teams really, really want the win, but for very different reasons. Darkspawn currently still in the spot for relegation, so for them, there's even more pressure on, because a team like Barrage can, you know, if they're lucky, they can avoid relegations even without winning. But for Darkspawn, the pressure is on. Meanwhile, M&M had a good run last week, eventually got knocked out of the tower, but they want to make sure that they try and get a little bit high in those seedings, because person in 4th place is going to take on Diabolus, and with how good they've been looking, that's not a great prospect. Bulldogs versus Enclave. Enclave is currently in the 5th spot. They want to stay there because of the Forge of Champions buy that they will receive. And for Bulldogs, it's the same story as for Darkspawn. They need to get a win here if they want to escape that feared relegations tournament. And then the final match of the night, we have Phelan taking on the loser of Axel and Diabolus. Phelan also in a position where currently they're not going to be relegated, but they can't really afford to take it easy, while the loser of Axel versus Diabolus, depending on who's going to take it, wants to make sure that in case of Diabolus, you know, send the message, have a good performance, and in case of Axel, make sure that they stay in the running there. And I think we're going to take a look at the lineups for our first match of the evening. Now, it's going to be, of course, Axel versus Diabolus. And there we go. See Axel coming up, Sendo on top, Taxer in the jungle, Axel on mid, and Inex and Kasing on AD carry and support. And Axel really have the pressure put on them here. It's up to them to perform. Thus far, Diabolus have proved a very worthy opponent in not getting knocked off the tower. And the real question is, can Axel change that here? Because they have been looking scary themselves as well. Then Diabolus, he's put Kerberos in the top lane, Munches in the jungle, great performance last week, Croxon in the mid lane, and Yusa and Hado as AD carry and support. And for Diabolus, you know, there's no pressure on them. They've already locked in that first playoff spot. And for them, it's just all about either sending a message or keeping up the momentum, because it's got to feel good coming to playoffs, just again showing your dominance over a team like Axel, which are going to be likely one of your opponents. And on that note, before we go back to this first match of the evening, we're going to watch an amazing highlight video, and then we'll be back with Axel versus Diabolus.
Welcome back to the top plays of the week 6 at the UKLC. Coming in at number 5, Governor goes 1v2 under tower. On Governor doesn't realise he's on the receiving end of a gank. Divine Judgment's been used and the tower is doing onto Artorias. He's so low, Maiden takes him down. Governor 1v2 forces out the GA. Wiser comes in and down goes Scudzy. A double kill. At number 4, Diabolus smash Fnatic in a 5v5 team fight. We're gonna find it with a killer instinct. That's a good hook. Still have that Zhonya's, a two-man play back into the box. The Zhonya's has been used, the claws in, a massive shockwave, but Shikari is coming with a slicing maelstrom. X-Matty is untouched in the fight for the moment, and Hado is slivering his way out. Magic Felix unable to get himself anything else. He goes down, Fnatic fall, the full ace once again for Diabolus. Barrage's Scudzy finds a triple kill on Nocturne. Divine Judgment's gonna use it to stay alive. The death mark is on. In comes the paranoia. Shockwave gonna get one. Artorias will go down. The death mark pops for the kill. And Warzy actually might fall. Scudzy gets the shutdown. And now underneath the tower, Raisins is gonna take tower shot after tower shot. Bartiona flashes in, lands the hook, and Cremil trying to get his way into the fight. That's gonna be a triple kill for Scudzy. And Wiser gets fleeing down. Cremil takes him out. And 4 kills for Barrage. At number 2, X-Matty and Magic Felix show off their fancy footwork. Nolty's coming in, gonna use the ulti, force the res out, gets the condemn off onto Nolty. X-Matty is flashing out. Oh, the outplay was so big. 1v2 finds himself a kill. Now Shogun and Monk are here. Magic Felix does have ultimate, pins it onto one. Tower aggro is not on Monk right yet, and Magic Felix is dodging and dodging away. Almost gets the flash out. Can he find out the moment? Oh my lord, Magic Felix! That was so disgusting.
Magic Felix and Maddie come up huge. They find the outplays.
At number 1, Barrage try their wombo combo one last time, but Enclave shut them down and win the game. Touch, turret number 1 is down, Cremil is there, Paranoia's on, the taunt is coming in, Divine Judgment onto 1 to lock him in place. They throw the death mark onto Scudzy. Scudzy's going to lose GA instantly as Cremil is getting sunk out by Wyzik. There's Hero's entrance, there's the first kill of the fight. Governor's going to be able to get it. It's 2 kills, picked up a Barrage, 1 answered back, this is a 2 for 2. You can still see Artorias is untouched, but the towers are being focused here. Governor's coming in, Jackamak is trying to get it. Turret number 1 is still alive, Kevo's 4 HP, Warzy has GA, the next is going to be the focus. Artorias goes down, Jackamaka can do diddly squad as Warzy finds himself a triple kill. Kevo's going to go down, and Warzy with a quadra kill should be able to close out the game here for Enclave, but the minions might just win him the last hit. Deathmark comes down, ace on a quadra kill for Warzy, and Enclave, they are not out of the UKLC yet. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC as we are ready for our tower rematch ending week 6 right here as XL will be taking on Diabolus. And I am pretty pumped to get going with this game because we know how much is on the line while Diabolus are locked in that first spot. This is really important for XL if they want to have good seeding coming in to the finals and the playoff weeks, as we are straight into picks and bans.
Yeah, so the big things to talk about is first seed, which is obviously Diabolus, will play against 4th seed, second plays against third. But the highest seed will get the choice of side in the first game, so that's a big factor. And as well, although Diabolus aren't actually playing for their seeding spot, they have locked it in, it's for the momentum. They want to come into playoffs and say, look, we're the best team, we're at the top for a reason, and everyone should fear them.
All right, well, that's going to be the Orianna and the Yorick ban here coming through from Diabolus as the Rise gets taken away by XL. Let's see what they're looking to take off as our things are the wrong way around. Yep, cool. I was like, why would XL ban the Rise?
Yeah, so, I mean,
sense now.
this is Diabolus again, targeting XL. I'm pretty sure they banned Rise, Zoe against them again, but it's different from the side of XL. Orianna and Yorick were left open last time, and they had the LeBlanc in the mid lane, which didn't quite get the momentum to counter it. They had the Nasus, which was Sendo's counter to the Yorick, but again, it just fell behind, so they're clearly going, right, that didn't work. We need to take a new avenue here.
All right, there you go. Everything switched up, just for clarity. XL are on that blue side, Diabolus on the red. Now, the Galio going to be first picked here for Kasing in that bot lane.
Might not be.
Might not be.
But we've started to see more and more Galio mid come out in different regions, seen quite a lot of it in LCK, a bit in China. So last week I was very much like it's a Galio support. Maybe a little bit less so this time, but Diabolus quickly hovering that Jarvan, which is that big combo we've seen again and again, the Galio Jarvan. So they want to deny that and have that flex pick for themselves, which could go top for Kerberos or for Monk, who's had a great performance.
I feel like, though, if you've got a player like XL, you don't really want to give him a Galio. You want to give him a playmaker, you want to give him a carry. Every time he's been on something like that Rise, he's been so big for his team. So it's going to be the Braum and the Jarvan taken away by Diabolus. Now, what XL looking to answer out here? Do they go for an AD carry? Do they go for a mid laner? Curious to see what they pick up here. It looks like for now, might just be a jungler.
Yeah, Sejuani, I mean, Taxus had good performances on it, and it does deny that Sejuani-Braum combo, which is so strong in the team fights with all that CC lockdown. And, you know, it provides you some engage for the Galio to follow up on, and then it comes down to what you want to take third pick. I think AD carry would be a big one, and they very quickly take the Tristana, which is interesting because there's still a lot of AD carries open, and we've seen things prioritized like the Vayne, we've seen things like the Kai'Sa have a fair amount of priority, but they're going straight on this Tristana, so XL have a plan, and they've committed to it.
It's definitely a comfort pick for Inax. Whenever I think of Inax, I think of like, okay, what can he play AD carry-wise? Tristana always pops up in my head. He always performs well on it, always looks very comfortable on it, but that's going to be a Vladimir, most likely for Kerberos in the top lane.
Still has
could go to
flexibility
Kroxan,
though, but I mean, could even go bot in theory, but I wouldn't like to put Vladimir with Braum, but this is something that is frequently banned away against Diabolus, and it's risen in priority so much. That champion is so strong right now. The pressure provides the backline, and the crucial thing is now you're looking at this Tristana who needs to survive. It's hard to survive against a Vladimir.
All right, well, we're looking to see what a Diabolus and XL look taking away. The Akali ban comes out
Good
from
matchup
Diabolus.
into the Vladimir top. I've seen it played quite a bit, so getting rid of that, and they're trying to, I think it will be the Vladimir top as you spoke about, so they're trying to make sure he has a good matchup on that side of the map, and you got to ask, what will Sendo take into it? So far seen Lissandra get taken away, which Kroxan has had some games on, but he still does have a lot of comfort. He is comfortable playing more mages, things like the Cassiopeia. So it is part of his pool, but I think he's not like MagiFelix, who's just played Lissandra.
I think the reason why as well is they know that Kroxan does like to play these mages, and if XL wants to play a playmaker, getting a kill onto someone like Lissandra with Aftershock just denies it. It's such a shutdown lane.
Completely, and it just means you can't have the pressure. And it's good that they banned the Irelia. I think that's a good spot because with Sejuani in the jungle, if you pick a melee champion and a Sejuani, it's so easy to stack up that passive and win the 2v2. Rek'Sai getting banned out, that was what we saw Monkeys get his MVP performance on. And now it's over to Diabolus, and I think they definitely should pick the AD carry here. I'm not sure if Yasuo is what I would pick for them personally. I think it's just a bit of a cover. They have played things like the Kai'Sa pretty effectively. Kalista is a possibility. I'm not sure whether you would take that here into the Tristana, but Kai'Sa is the sort of go-to that Yasuo's had, and he will lock it in. Yeah,
going to go again for comfort here. Diabolus, even though they have nothing to lose apart from their spot at the top of the tower in the last week, don't want to give that up. They want to put comfort on. You see already, most likely that curved Vlad. We see the Yusa on the Kai'Sa. We see Haddo on something like a Braum. This is all around a very nice pick for Diabolus. They're all feeling comfortable on these picks and confident, but that is an instant Yasuo lock-in for most likely Exile.
Yeah, so it could potentially go top, but I will lean towards saying it's XL, but it's a great combo with a Sejuani. Because like I said, you dash onto them, very easy to stack up those 3 stacks. And we said Kroxan likes to play these mages. Yasuo's win wall can be a real problem for them. The question can be, what will be the last pick? Because we think it's the XL going mid on this Yasuo. They need something for Sendo in the top lane, and they're going to take the Karma, which actually, it makes me think that, as we talked about before, the Galio may well be mid lane.
It could be.
So what I'm thinking here is that they take the Karma bot lane for a strong lane matchup. That means that you have lane pressure.
Unless it's like Karma top lane,
it could be Karma
which has been a while. I mean, there was that phase of like tank Karma top lane as well.
There's a lot of options.
There is a lot of options, and that's going to be a Cho'Gath pick here. So actually, again,
a lot more flexes coming out.
More flexibility. This is a flexing game.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it a lot before, and it's understandable. I think they will move. They're moving the Karma top, so we'll have to wait and see. They have until 20 seconds, I believe, to switch things around. I think the one thing that, I mean, I'm not even sure on that. I think I'm pretty sure Diabolus is going to go with what they've got hovered over now. Yeah. Kerberos had played that Cho'Gath last week really solid, and though the Vladimir has been played more by him, Kroxan, he's solid on these mages, happy to play it. And XL still holding on to these picks.
All right, locked in. That's all locked and loaded. There's going to be a Karma top lane here coming out from Sendo. Exile, I'd be surprised if you didn't let Exile play the Yasuo. It's one of his mains. Yeah. That and the Katarina.
It's one of his go-to picks, so it makes a lot of sense to put him on it. Into the Vladimir as well, because the thing is, Vladimir's Q cooldown, which is what he's so reliant on for trading, is very long in the early levels. Yeah. Whereas Yasuo can just go onto you and he has a lot of sustained damage compared to traditional mages. They have to play around their cooldowns. He's just about auto attack, so I think in the early levels, you're going to have shove as a Yasuo, you're going to have control of the lane, and there's a lot of threat. Once Vladimir gets later on, it can get a bit dicey, but by that point, you're no longer about the lane. You're about looking for team fights. So, you know, I think it's a good pick for him. The Karma top, I'm not so convinced on. I understand the reason they put it there, because it means that they have that Yasuo in the mid lane. But into the Cho'Gath, I mean, essentially you're just going to farm up, no doubt, with Kleptomancy. and then facilitate your team later on. You have a Yasuo and a Tristana, so if you facilitate them, they're going to be great. And you already have the front line in terms of Sejuani and Galio, so they have that to back it up. And I think if this team composition can protect their carries, get to the later stages of the game, they're going to be in a pretty good position.
Well, it's been a dicey few weeks here for XL. You said it, so I could not. In the last few weeks,
dicey there?
Yes, you did.
Oh, I can't
you
even
talking
tell.
about the mid lane. You're like, it's dicey for the late game.
I don't even realize anymore. It just comes out.
It's okay, mate. It's all right. Don't
Whatever.
worry. Anyway, could be a little bit dicey this game for XL. They know how much is on the line. Are they currently tied with M&M points-wise?
They're tied with M&M on 12.
So third and fourth is kind of like tied at the moment, but we're loading through onto our tower rematch here at the UKLC. It's the seventh and final week of action.
And it's going to be dicey.
And it's going to be dicey indeed. We got a Yasuo for Exile. We have been bigging this pickup for so long for him. And now we get to see it.
Yeah, so we will see the Kleptomancy from Sendo. So can't still do that Frostmancy anymore, but he just wants to farm up and become a strong Karma top. And essentially just provide that shielding for his team.
All right, well, we got a poll starting up. Make sure you guys use the hashtag XL or hashtag Diabolus. I asked for this, by the way. DBL, sorry, hashtag XL or hashtag DBL in the Twitch chat right now to let us know who you think is going to win. And we will have a live update on this, I believe.
Eventually.
So they've had this for weeks, by the way, but we haven't been able to see this. Wow. I sent a message to the producer being like, hey, mate, maybe give that to us as we're watching this live right now. Diabolus had a strong start, but
XL are looking to come back in the mid-game. XL have a solid mid-game here. Let's see how this plays out in the late.
This is the most exciting point of the cast. We get a caster bar going up and down.
Yeah. Anyway, let's take a quick glance at the game. So, seen fairly standard things across the board in terms of keystones, summoner spells, etc. Seen the Ignite come out from Krogson, so he wants to maintain that pressure against Exile in the mid lane. I mean, I think really it's going to come down to can Monkeys start to make things happen in the early game, because you want to get that lead so you can be proactive. Because both these teams have great scaling in the later stages, but I feel like XL's job is simply protect their backline, whereas with Diabolus, you know, you have a Vladimir and a Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's pretty good at shredding, but she's also short-ranged, and she's great at diving. And the thing is, of Vladimir as well, he's not exactly the champion you just want to sit back killing tanks. You want to get access to that Yasuo Tristana. I've actually seen a move here from Monkeys. Doesn't have his combo, but he's waiting in the bush. Red's down, so yeah, won't be able to find Taxa. So in a pretty good position, but Krogson moving up as well.
I don't think they actually see him on the ward. He placed it outside of the bush. Yeah, no pings went down.
That's a bit of a whoopsie-daisy.
That is a whoopsie-daisy.
They will get a camp, though, so, I mean, they get the victory, but they don't know exactly where Taxa is.
Taxa's actually just beelining for the second Scuttle Crab as well. Looks like he's going to be able to get that. The ward has died out and they haven't pinged him, so once again, remains unspotted. And what he loses from that Raptor camp, he makes up for on Scuttle Crab, so he's quite content here. Sexar just jumping in forward, just goes for a light trade with Krogson. Actually, we might see even more denial. Taxa maybe not losing a single thing from this invade.
Yeah, being in a pretty good position, and I feel like maybe Monkeys could have reacted better, but lost the information. And when he went for that contest, he was hoping that the red would still be available or that Taxa would still be taking it. I think his assumption was it might be that Taxa had taken a slower route on this Sejuani, and he might be able to find him out, but wasn't able to.
All right, well, I believe the vote is now done. 61% of you guys at home believe that Diabolus are going to take this win. 39% of you are believing in XL, but already we're seeing a pretty solid start coming out of Taxa. He's cleared away a few camps from Monkeys, and now he's actually just going to his bot side where he's got all 3 camps up. So he should actually be able to pull out, top side, sorry. Should be able to pull out a slight CS lead here.
Yes, he's had a massive advantage in his early levels just by kind of ducking out from what Monkeys went for, and he's found an advantage where arguably I feel like the Jarvan should be the one looking for the bigger plays in the early levels, because Sejuani is going to be such a monster later on when teaming up with this with Yasuo as well. It's so easy to set up in the mid lane on this champion, because you just walk in, XL dashes in, he auto attacks, and then the stun is stacked up, and all you have to do is wait for Krogson to use pool, and it's free. It's so easy to execute, but they just need to get to the point where maybe Krogson steps up a bit forward and Tax is confident enough to go there. And I think a big part is going to be vision, because if you go for a play like that and Monkeys turns up, that's where things can really fall apart. And a big thing I always say about the Vladimir is he's very much a stat check champion. If he's behind, he feels really useless. If he's ahead, he feels so hard to deal with.
Well, got himself a CS lead for the moment here. Exile just quite content farming away, gone back for the double Dorans, but he's going in for the trade here onto Croxon. Does have that Ignite. That's going to be the blood pull down. Exile just dashes away and now can jump back in. Does have the flash, does have the knock-up. Misses out on that knock-up, and Croxon just heals up.
Yeah, Monk is actually coming here into the lane. Exile should just be able to dash away though, so fairly safe. But this is a problem. Long cooldowns on Croxon.
Oh, he's put the Ignite down. Exile actually might just go for the play. Flash is available, and he flashes in, gets himself the kill. Now versus Monkeys with half HP. Might just try to trade away, but uses the minions to reposition and dash away to safety. Monkeys cannot answer out.
And this is the issue, is that Croxon felt confident with Monkeys there. He got low HP, and with the Ignite, the pressure, the kill pressure is there from Exile. He's found that advantage, and this is the issue with Vladimir. In the early levels, your cooldown on your Q is too long. You really struggle in extended trades against a Yasuo, and this is not a good sign already in the mid lane for Diabolus. Or Monkeys did smite that away, and will get out, but look behind in levels compared to Taxa, so small consolation prize for the mid jungle from Exile coming out strong.
And he's able to take those Raptors away, but I mean, he's lost so much more in the long run. As Sendo with the Kleptomancy in the top lane, we didn't talk about this. It's just auto-attacking curve out of lane. He's getting so much gold.
I did talk about the Klepto.
Oh, you did.
I said it's what it'd go. It's not the Frostmance anymore, but you take the Karma top, you go Klepto. It's so hard to deal with the Karma because there's so much lane pressure against a melee champion. And then you just stack up more and more gold, and you can see it there. Almost 800 gold ahead already. 500 gold lead in the mid lane, and you can see there's a 1.5k gold lead, and we've had 1 kill. So pretty significant already coming out from the side of XL, and they've picked to have early pressure in the lanes. The thing is, can they transition it to a strong mid game? Because that's where it starts to get scary when you have a massive Cho'Gath on either side who feels almost unkillable. That's where I might have a few concerns.
And what's nice about actually taking this Karma is you kind of make up for that lack of wave clear that Yasuo does offer you. Obviously, Yasuo has to get into the wave to clear, so in a siege situation, if Yasuo jumps into the wave to clear it, he's probably going to die.
Yeah.
So Karma can empower the Q, lob it over the wall, nice and safe, and look to clear away. So it does kind of also cover up a little bit of that, and then works as that second support which will enable a player like Inax, a player like Exile, to perform on these hyper carries.
Absolutely. I think they will, and it gives them the option of sending Exile into the side lane, because if he's ahead of the Vladimir, it's not a fun position to be in. Doesn't have TP, so can't split super effectively on this side of the map, but can apply that pressure. Now, I mean, this is a big thing with this match. You wait until the empowered Q's down, and then you can look for aggression, and Taxa's waiting in the wings.
Misses out on that last Q, so doesn't get the knockup, but now he has it.
If he gets his ult...
Holding fast for the moment. Croxon doing a good job to dodge away. Has gone for the Phoenix Codex, so you can Q as much as possible here.
But still lacking. You see how much control Exile now has over the wave. Able to shove in, but look, Tax has gone for an invade on the enemy Wolves, but Monkeys is actually waiting in the middle. They might look for something here.
Oh, no flash available. Exile throws the Q out, wards over the wall as well, and that's enough to scare Monkeys away.
And this mid priority is just meant they are able to push into Diabolus' side of the map. Taxa took away the Wolves while Monkeys was sitting in the brush, and there's nothing he can do because he's level 5. If he gets hit by the ult from Taxa, he's as good as dead from this Yasuo-Sejuani combo. And now they'll take this blue as well, which it's not the most impactful buff to take off of Vladimir, but it definitely hurts when Monkeys is still running around the jungle at level 5.
Sender might be caught out though. Flag drag's available. He does have that flash. That's going to be the knock up. The shield comes down. Sendo looking to speed himself up, but the red buffs are applying. They're slowing him down. He's rooting him up for the moment, and Sendo now able just to pick himself up a few Kleptomancy stacks as Croxon gets ignited in the mid lane. Exile might
the ult was used as well, so went for a very aggressive trade, and Croxon able to escape, but so low in HP. And now Taxa is waiting. He might look for an ult here.
He does have that ult available, looking to throw out the tides of blood. Taxa holding his ulti for the moment. Knock up is available. They're just going to take the plate here. I think they're pretty content doing that.
Still, it's so scary for Croxon in this position, because if he is slow on that pool when an ult or tornado comes in, he could very easily die, and the pressure is complete on Exile's side. He's able to recall now, and he's going to be in a really good position. He's actually not even looking for the recall. He's continuing to pressure this lane, and may well get a second plate on this push.
I wonder if he goes early into the Executioner's Calling as well on the Yasuo. Obviously, he wants to get himself that Zeal pretty quick.
Yeah, that's an interesting point he could do.
I mean, it's 800 gold, right?
Yeah,
You've got a gold lead, and it
like
just denies Croxon so much healing and sustain.
Yeah, I mean, there's a potential for it.
Oh,
It'll be
this is
interesting.
actually rough.
Yeah, I mean, Kerberos isn't really at risk of dying, but it's such an annoying lane, and just so much free gold is going over to Sendo. And later on, you obviously do fall off as a Karma in terms of the damage you can put out to a Cho'Gath. He will just become unkillable, but you're always going to have wave clear, and you offer a lot of utility for the team. So he's in a pretty good position.
Now, as we're approaching that 10-minute mark, if we do look at the gold here, XL have got themselves a 1,600 gold. Well, almost at 1,700 gold. 17,000, sorry. I'm really bad with numbers.
2,000 gold lead.
2,000 gold lead, to make it short. You see the gold lead in the mid lane, in the top lane as well. Stacking up nicely here for XL. Croxon actually getting jumped onto here. Ultimate's available for Taxa. They're just waiting out for the blood pool. Knockup goes a little bit wide.
Yeah, Zeal picked up now by Exile, so got a lot of crit to back him up. Well, I mean, a lot of crit considering you have half an item. So it's going to be at 30%. And Exile in a comfortable position here just to keep pressuring this lane. And Taxa doesn't even have to do anything. He just walks up, and Croxon has to play scared. And this is a Yasuo we're talking about. This is a champion who is going to be very relevant in the late game. But this isn't a great position to be in. I mean, Vlad doesn't exactly fall off. But the fact that Exile's getting such a big league, it has to be concerning. I will say, though, Croxon's hitting that level 8 point.
Yeah.
Level 9 is when your Q is maxed. You lose a lot of cooldown on that. So that's when you're in a much more comfortable position. But bot lane doesn't look too comfortable because Tax and Exile applying pressure. Not sure if they'll go for a dive here, but they're going to try and get some plates in this tower.
They've got the members to do so. Look at Kasing holding back with that ultimate available. Decides not to go for it and then just give up the plate. And what's enabling these plays, if you look at the map, is the warding by XL. They've got deep wards all the way into Diabolus' jungle, all along that river. With the shove that Inax and Kasing are getting in the bot lane, it's enabling Exile to be able to play in this lane this aggressive.
Oh, and Taxit doesn't actually see Monk as he has found him now. The knockup actually fails there for Monkers, so bit unfortunate. But at the end of the day, I don't think they would have been able to kill Taxit. Did have Flash and the Arctic Salt, so Taxit's still applying pressure though, and it just feels like Diabolus have been on the back foot so far completely this game.
He's been such a pain in the bum right now. Croxon dodges away on that knockup.
Yeah, and
they're going to throw the ulti down. XL might just get solo killed here. Taxic throws down the ultimate. Not enough in time. The flash over the wall. The wind wall's not enough. And it's a 1-for-1 trade as Taxa saves the day.
And Croxon waits for that power spike, the level 9, when you have that short and Q cooldown. And he plays it perfectly. He finds the damage in Exile, who is just caught unawares. And now this matchup's starting to be turning a bit more to Croxon's favor because he held his own there.
Now, why did you look at me weird when I said pain in the bum? You gave me a look.
Did I?
Yeah. No, he's being a nuisance. He's invading, he's putting wards down, he's trying to interrupt you while you're farming your camps.
Maybe I was just, I was being like, hey, how are you?
Oh, okay. That's a weird way to say hey. Cloud Drake is up here.
This is really unfortunate, though, for Exile, because I think ideally you'd want to finish off your attack speed item. Or, I mean, at bare minimum, you could grab a BF sword, but he's had to back, and the only real option he's had to go for is that pickaxe, whereas Croxon has finished that proto belt, more CDR, more mobility, and a bit of extra damage, so he's in a pretty good position in this matchup, and that's one of the things with Vladimir, is that you have to abuse him early, because later on, it's not as possible. And I think Exile giving over that kill, it's not the end of the world, but Croxon's definitely feeling more confident now.
Marcel just goes to get the crab. You can see the attention by XL is now switched out. They're not particularly fussed by the cloud rate. They'd rather get the Rift Shroud, rather get these gold pockets they can get with that, as a lot of work has already been done by Sendo in this top lane. Inax looking to pick up some solo plating, although Taxo and Kasing making their way around to deal with it. Curve is just going to have to watch this plate go down, and it looks like it's a bit of a swap, but XL do have the tempo advantage as the first turret blood will go down in favor of XL.
Yeah, they will get one in return. And this is fine for Exile. You're happy just trading because Diabolus, they will start to be in a better position in the mid-game. Cho'Gath from that adaptive helm isn't going to be as easy to bully out. And I think you get to the point where on a 2-item spike, Yusa's going to be in a great position. I feel like with Exile and Inax, you want to get to the later stages of the game where Inax has 3 items, Exile has 2 on a defensive. and Karma's just able to shield you and facilitate you, and you can just fight front to back and win that way. But for now, although XL is still 2k gold ahead, I'd be a bit concerned about challenging them head on when you've just seen how much damage Crocs can do, especially as he's about to hit level 11.
If we do look at the gold as well, in the mid lane, still a 600 gold lead over to XL, even with that kill that Croxon was able to get. Still suffering a little bit. So that first turret blood will help out for the XL gold.
I just feel like right now, it's if you go in on the carries of XL, if you attack XL and Inax and you have the Vladimir ult, you have Kais who can follow up, and you have the Cho'Gath, now is the point where they feel very vulnerable to that. I think it's going to be more about the 2-item spike for Yuso, where he really wants to follow up on that, but now is where I think XL's team fight, even with the gold lead, you have to make it clean, or you might end up getting caught up on. I think that's why they're taking things slow. They're looking for these trades, or they're looking for situations like mid where they might get a pick onto Krogson.
Yeah, Croxon's getting engaged onto, holds the pool for the moment. Sexal has that knock up. That's going to be the catch-up forced out, and Krogson looking to run away.
It's funny that you say ketchup, but if you look at XL's skin, it looks a bit like mustard.
Ketchup versus mustard, the greatest battle of the condiments in the mid lane.
Absolutely. And XL does a fair amount of damage to Monkiz, but Monkiz has gone for the tanky Jarvan build. I think it makes sense. You have a lot of damage already on the side of Diabolus, and later on, there's not much a damage Jarvan can do to a Yasuo or a...
That's a large knock-up. XL's got the last breath. He goes down, and the dunk is enough. XL gets himself the solo kill, even though Taxa did help.
So easy to find that setup on the Vladimir. There's no good situation to pull there for Krogson, because if you don't pull the Tornado, you get hit by everything else. But if you pull the Tornado, you're just going to get ulted by the Sejuani. So it was a really dicey one. And they will now throw down the Rift Herald in the mid lane and look to get that tower. And Hado and Yuso are there to try and defend, but I'm not sure how much they can do.
Sheila gets the charge off. A lot of damage is coming in. That's going to be the taunt. The Glacial Fisher comes out. XR, 2-man knock-up comes in. That's going to be the hero's entrance by Kasing, though, to zone the void. Diabolus' members are low as the turret falls down. They could look to chase, but they decide to step away for the moment. Meanwhile, Inax takes a turret in the bot lane as well. It is looking dicey for Diabolus right now.
Absolutely, yeah. In a rough position being this far behind in gold, and although there are ways they can win a team fight right now, they need to get the Cho'Gath there. They need to be able to pressure the backline of XL, and right now they're just not being given the chance at all. And so they're basically playing to XL's game, which means they'll just take what they want from the map. And when you look at how strong this Sejuani is already, working towards that Warmog, she's so tanky, and she can just walk into any situation and she's not really threatened. Because Diabolus' comp, they don't threaten the tanks to a large degree. They threaten the carries. And so far, Inax and XL have been playing pretty clean games.
Now, if we do look at the items that are starting to come through, that BF sword, that pickaxe, the Shiv is now on exile. Yusa has the Stormrazor, so going into the Stormrazor Gwyn's build we talked about quite a lot last week. While Inax with that Infinity Edge and that Zeal is starting to hit that crit marker as Exile's going in. Krogson throws out the Hemo Plague. Knock-up is available. Uses the Wind Wall. Exile's already low. Krogson may just find himself the solo kill. The flash forward, and Krogson once again gets the 1v1 over Exile.
Yeah, and Exile just goes overzealous. He had Taxa to back him up, and because of that, he felt like he could just go aggressive and engage. And now he has been punished in this matchup. And Diabolus going to look for a bit more mid, but Sendo's coming for flank.
That's the flash out. Sendo's chasing it.
It's like a flanking Karma. It's not the most certain thing.
I mean, they flashed away from it.
I mean, they forced the flash because they were scared of Kasing's taunt. They respected it, but Diabolus taking a lot in that last exchange and starting to close up that goal gap. And we're getting close to that 2-item spike point, and that's why I think Diabolus do have the advantage, and they'll start to win things out.
Maybe it is time for Exile picks up the Executioner's calling. Try and just cut through some of Krogson's healing, because now he's at level 13. He's got a lot of sustain in his kit. Rank 2 in the ulti. He's got the phase rush as well. He's pretty hard to pin down for the moment.
I mean, it's either that route or you go for the MR route. So I think he finishes the Infinity Edge, then you could well take something like the Hex Drinker, just so you're less likely to get bursted out, because you have a lot of sustain damage with the Yasuo. If you can survive Krogson's burst, then you will just be able to take out that Vladimir, but hasn't been good to get solo killed in 1v2 situations twice by this Vladimir. Not the best.
You can see from the vision on the map, XL have just completely given up any focus around the bot lane. They're just more content with pushing these towers in. And this will just be another Drake given up to Diabolus. They've now got themselves an Ocean and the Cloud Drake.
Not the most impactful, a lot of people would argue, but you want to be stacking them up for later on for that Elder. Because I do feel like XL, when we get to the late stages of the game, their comp's going to be quite scary. So you want that extra wing condition from Diabolus that can essentially make XL make some bad decisions, because Diabolus, they want backline access in their team fights later on. They want XL to be caught up in a position where they start the Baron, they start the Elder Dragon, and you can just punish their backline. But for now, Diabolus are pretty confident just taking these 1-3-1s. Kerberos is no longer threatened by the damage from Sendo, and we've seen Krogson perform so well in this 1v1 against Exile.
Inax is in a good place to also pop off in this game. 0-0-0, but he's got himself a lot of gold under his pocket. He's feeling quite content.
The big build path with the Tristana is you want the 3-item spike. That's when you're pumping out loads of damage. The issue is, however, you still have no defensive. And that's why I feel like XL's comp's going to take a bit longer to come online, because you want to protect Inax. So you want him to have 3 items and a lot of damage, but there's still also that risk that until he has defensive, how safe is he going to be? The advantage you do have is the Karma, but you can't always guarantee the Karma's going to be there with you. So we will be waiting a bit longer before this Tristana is super relevant. Whereas right now, you look at Yusuf, he's on his big spike, the Storm Razor Ginsu's. He could easily pick up a stopwatch here or a QSS, and he is ready to team fight for potentially a game-deciding fight. So that's why I think that Diabolus in a good position now, especially when you look at the actives picked up by the Vladimir, who has that Protobelt and that Zhonya's. So I would be gearing up to take momentum now as Diabolus, but the problem is they're still 4K behind in gold, and I still don't think they feel super confident, but they're starting to get some control over this Baron area. And right now, XL, I think they're respecting the power spikes that are coming through from Diabolus.
And this is exactly what you were talking about in pre-game, is Hado just takes a bomb to the head. Going to chunk him a little bit, but he's okay. But you were talking about how the Yasuo in the earlier stages was going to have a lot of kill threat onto Krogson. That came true. And then as he kind of hit that level 9 spot, started to get a little bit more sustainy, the Yasuo was going to start to struggle. And multiple solo kills from Krogson has proven that right here. As Taxa, full tank, he's been a little bit careful as Monkeys is hanging with him. But you can see Krogson's there. They're just jumping in. That's going to be the Hemo play. Inax jumps into death, into danger, and he's going to get shut down. Krogson in the middle of the free. Does get taken out, though. Monkeys has the dunk. Finds it onto one. Exile trying to dive away. Knock up onto one. Still holds that last breath for the moment. It's going to be down, actually, as the Glacial Fissure gets used. Exile jumps out of the fight. Does not have flash, and it's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of XL.
Complete overcommit by Inax, but it turns out pretty favorably for XL, because there was just no way for Yusuf to get in that fight, and the goal difference paid dividends there. And I think the huge thing was the wind wall from the Yasuo just prevented the Kai'Sa from really getting anything done. And so in a pretty good position, I think a crucial thing as well is that Krogson wasn't able to get his Zhonya's off. I think that really could have turned things around there. But XL's shown they're still willing to take fights here. They have a gold lead, they're feeling confident, but my concerns are just they need to get to the later stages. But this is good for them, you know? They traded up, and we will have a look back at that. So Krogson, they feel like he's out of position, and Inax, you're not even full HP. Yeah, you jump in, he's dead. At this point, he's just gone, and you've committed so hard, and then crucially, the stun, followed by the knock-up from Inax, that was actually so crucial to stopping the Zhonya's from coming through. And then now, the wind wall blocks Yusuf. He has to take a bad angle. He tries to ult in, but gets caught by the knock-up, and it means he just can't get any damage on Exile. And until Exile's down, he isn't willing to go more aggressive to find him. So XL come out ahead there, even though there was a bit of a misplay from Inax. But I've got to feel that Diabolus still need to look for something here. They're bringing Kerberos up, and if you look at that situation, Krogson 100-0'd Inax solo. If you have a Cho'Gath as well, if you land an ult on both the Yasuo and the Tristana, and then Cho'Gath eats one of them, you basically just knocked XL's team fighting just down. There's nothing they can do. And so even with the goal lead over to XL, I think they just need to slow the game down a bit here, unless they find a favorable fight. Because if Krogson does that again, and Cho'Gath's there to follow up, it gives me some concerns.
Inax, once again, does able to jump away this time. But literally what you're talking about.
Yeah, playing with fire. It's all about the backline access for Diabolus. And I mean, I'm talking so much about how right now I feel like Diabolus will have the advantage.
Well,
the gold lead is still in the favor of XL.
You can see this tweet there at the bottom of your screen. Diabolus, time to prove to everyone that you are what I believe you are, the best at LVP UK team. Take it away, boys.
They have their hope now. They have been looking pretty good, but XL are going straight after the Baron. And the rest of Diabolus are quite far away.
Sendo does have teleport. They check it with the Scryers and the flag.
They don't want a 50-50. It's too risky. XL are in a comfortable position, you know. As I've said, their comp is just going to be is just going to get better and better as the game goes on. Once you get the 3-item spike of Tristana and then start picking up defensives, it's going to be much harder time for Diabolus to punish the Tristana and the Yasuo. So yes, they will push to look for that Baron, but they're in no pressure to make things happen. I feel like Diabolus are the ones who need to make a fight happen. They need to find Inax or XL again and just take them off the map. And Monkeys will swap them starting up the Baron again, and they're just playing this 50-50 because if they find a good opportunity to start a team fight when they're this far ahead, they're fine, but the concern's got to me.
Sendo's teleporting in. That's going to be the Void Seeker connecting onto Kasing. The speed up is there. Already, XL gets caught. The ultimate goes in. The knockup's on. The Hemoplague onto 2 members. Knockup goes a little bit wide. They throw out the wind wall. Monkeys gets a 3-man dunk. Inax remains untouched from the fight, but XL is very low. User, full HP. XL unable to follow up as Kasing taunts out 1. A double kill picked up for Kerberos. Diabolus have turned the fight around, and XL can do nothing but watch the game fall apart. And the Baron gets started up here by Diabolus. Inax has to do some kind of a miracle with XL, with Kasing. The taunt is down. The Unbreakable is down for the moment. That's going to be the flash out by Inax. Scared of User. XL still very, very low. Still needs to be exceptionally careful. They continue in. This is going to be the taunt. That's going to be the engage. XL jumps in. Crogson's low. The Ignite is doing damage, and Inax is poking away. He jumps into the fray. 1 kill's been picked up for XL, but Kerberos is getting it. The Baron's already gone, and Diabolus lose everybody but User, but Kerberos. But Inax is getting himself a double kill. Now he's looking to try and get that feast off. User does have that killer instinct. He launches into the fray. The knock-up, the silence, the feast is available, but the taunt comes out by Kasing. Inax holds up fast. He jumps away one more time. Oh my lord, he's out!
What a back and forth though, and Diabolus do come away with the Baron, but they lose 3 of them. But that little redeeming play at the end means they have closed the gold lead to some extent, and crucially, they got that Baron action. And that's what I'm talking about. It's so much easier to execute these fights from Diabolus. XL try to go aggressive. They got punished because their backline wasn't in the right position, and it was only the overcommit on the Baron from Diabolus that meant they could find any life in that play. But still, fairly even trades, but the advantage has to be to Diabolus picking this Baron, but still in a gold deficit. They're now heading over this Dragon and want to secure this one. Okay, Boss is here with his E. There's no way that...
tanky.
Yeah, they can't
3-0. Taxa does need to be very careful. Concussive blows not going to stack up, but already takes a big chunk, and the Cloud Drake getting started up. This would be pretty horrible one to lose. 2 Cloud Drakes over to a team with a Vladimir.
There's not a ton you can do at this point. It's like, we're at the point where Inax hit his 3-item spike now, but he's investing in the Staff Whisper because he understands how hard it is to cut through the front line. Oh, they're lobbing everything onto Haddo. The Glacial Fisher comes out, and Inax finds himself the kill. Curb's now on that flank. Not going to find himself the knock-up, and XL continue to siege here. Sendo speeding in. This Baron buff not actually doing a lot here for Diabolus, as they're losing their base for this. Yeah, they just overcommitted on the Cloud Dragon, and now XL are going to take an inhibitor essentially for free because Haddo overstepped. So good moves from them. They out-rotate Diabolus, and they are rewarded pretty heavily. So they're going to head towards the top side and keep applying that pressure. Crucially, Diabolus don't have some key flashes. Well, no flashes on their side, but the big ones are going to be that Vladimir and that Jarvan. They're looking for those to start the team fight off effectively. And it's getting to the point where they're having the Karma group with their team. And this is when things get tricky, because it's so much harder to punish these carries when you have the massive Karma shields coming in from a fully farmed solo lane.
The flank
Karma
is coming in. Killer Instincts available to User. All ultimates up. XL step away. They don't want to give up anything here versus Diabolus. They've got that inhibitor. They've got that extra turret as well. They've bought time throughout this Baron buff, which only has a few more waves left on it.
And that's the thing. They lost 3 members with that Baron. They ended up using it to commit to a Cloud Dragon and lost their inhibitor. So they didn't really gain much of that Baron other than denying it from XL.
I mean, they haven't even got tier 1 mid.
Yeah, absolutely. And
now they're pushing into tier 1 mid with supers working against them. It's going to be pretty hard to take that even with your Baron buff for the moment. 52,000 gold to the 47,000 gold Diabolus have.
Yeah, they're in a pretty good position still, Diabolus. They have that Rabadons on Krogsons, who's going to be doing a lot of damage. But if they can't find the backline access, this is when Inax really starts to hurt. He has Arden on Sendo, so if he's there, he's going to protect him and provide him with more damage. and he has that low Dominic's regard. So frankly, he can actually cut through these tanks pretty effectively. So right now it comes down to, can XL execute the team fight in a way that protects Inax and protects Exile from this Vladimir, and potentially from this Cho'Gath as well, because that Cho'Gath chomp is going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. He's got himself the stopwatch. He's building towards the stone plate. You can see Monkeys has already picked that up. Will be big for him in these team fights where he's been catching multiple members inside his Cataclysm. Pops the stone plate, just stays alive for a lot longer.
Absolutely, and crucially, if you look at Inax, you still not picked up any defensive items to deal with that Vladimir, whose flash is coming up again. So if you get caught in a Cataclysm again and the Vladimir ults you, you're really in a vulnerable position. You can see Exile has gone towards that Jeroboam's Fists for a bit of HP and that Negatron Cloak, so he will have some defensive stats against the Vladimir, which is understandable because you're getting a lot more up and in the thick of it as the Yasuo, but Inax has to be careful because the Kroxin jumps on it again. Level 16 on that Hemoplague, I think that's just a one-shot. RQ Ignite, I think that's enough just to kill Inax flat out.
I'm assuming Inax is probably going to go GA next. Could go Bloodthirst if he wants to try and sustain before the Hemoplague goes pop.
I think Bloodthirst would be a big shout because the shield helps just provide that extra HP that Kroxin can't one-hit. Plus, if you do get ulted, you can heal up out of it. I think GA is an option, but the thing is, if you end up dead on the GA in the middle of a team, I think you just die again.
Yeah. You don't do a lot. You might get one auto attack off before you die.
Yeah, you know,
if you're lucky.
Change the game. But probably not. Control definitely over the
Or
side
just
of
go
XL
PD.
here.
Get as much crit as possible. Get the shield. Try and sustain.
You could do.
I'm trolling.
I mean, you could.
I'd like
in theory.
Bloodthirster more.
I like Bloodthirster more personally. It also means if you just sit back and auto attack, you're very hard to threaten. And there'll be so much shield in between that and the Karma, but we do see the Sterix picked up by Exile.
Curb has 4.1 thousand health at the moment.
Yeah, so
he's a tanky boy. And I mean, he's got a lot of resistances as well. It's not like he's built all that many health items. The random ones gives him health. And so does the Abyssal Helm. No, the Adaptive Helm, sorry. But
yeah,
after that, he's just stacking as much resistances as possible, which means
well, you know,
it's going to be hard to cut through.
As much as he is very tanky and strong, the later you get in this game, the more this Yasuo and this Tristana are just going to threaten you. When you see the Hex Drinker come out from Inax, so he knows the threat is this Vladimir. That is the real threat to him. That is the real big concern in the later stages of the game. Because right now, Inax, you have the protection from the Karma, you have a good front line, you have the wind wall as well, and you have a ton of range, but the concern for you is this Vladimir getting on top of you.
Well, you've got 40 seconds left on that mid lane inhibitor as XL are flanking here. The taunt goes in. Inax turns around. The knock-up straight down, and Monkeys just gets dunked. Hemoplague's been used on Sendo as Inax repositions behind the rest of the team. Yusa's unable to get in as the Glacial Fissure has gone down. Kerberos, very, very tanky, and it's going to be hard to stun him up, but they do get the CC on. They taunt him in. His HP is just liquefying to the crits, to the damage that Inax is able to do as he gets himself a shutdown here, and XL will take away 2 kills and Baron Nashor.
And now is the point of the game where if you botch and engage or get found yourself for the side of Diabolus, you get punished so hard by this XL composition. Inax able to jump away from the damage of Kroxin and then just put so much damage. And we said how tanky Kerberos seemed, not against 5 members of the enemy team. This Yasuo and this Tristana just cut through him, and Diabolus going to take that Cloud Dragon as a consolation prize, but it's not much at this point of the game.
3 Cloud Drakes is nice, but it's not so nice
I'd rather
when you're down 6k gold.
Yeah.
When you're down an open inhibitor, which you know the team that just got Baron are going to be able to walk up and take. But there is that win condition still available to Diabolus if they can hold out. Look in the top left of your screen, the Elder Drake is next, and they've got 4 Drakes to buff.
Yeah, so if they manage to survive and keep their base for this Baron, the next spawning objective will be that Elder. And that is one that they could contest. If they manage to get a good chomp at a Kerberos on the objective, the extra stats might be enough to turn a team fight in their favor. But they have to hold out for the next 2 minutes 40 against this Baron. And if XL find a team fight, they will take no time in cutting down the base of Diabolus if they're given any space to. Because if you look at the damage from this Tristana, from this Yasuo, and the thing is with the Wind Wall, with the Karma Shield, it's so easy just to walk up the towers and hit them.
All right, well, Yusa just clearing away these waves. Inhibitor respawning. Well, Inhibitor's up. They've got 2 minutes left on Baron. Have to see what XL will do with it for the moment. They're just clearing out the jungle, getting as much deep wards as possible so they can rotate around the map as effectively as they can.
Taking it slow because they know the real threat is if this Vladimir finds backline access, that's where their whole game plan could fall apart. They need to protect Inax and to a lesser extent Exile. Their composition revolves around these two carries. So they're pushing the waves up, they're playing things slow, they don't want to overcommit, and crucially, they don't want to push too far in the mid lane and get caught in that choke point where it's very easy for Krogson to land a big Hemo Plague.
Krogson actually having a little bit of a harder time here versus Sendo, who's just able to shield up and sustain any damage he throws out. But with all that cooldown reduction, he is pretty okay for the moment. You can see they got 2 lanes pushing in. Sendo actually just gets chunked really hard there.
I mean, that's the power of a late game Vladimir. He can do so much damage to these squishies. So Sendo does have to be a bit careful. They are pushing in the mid. But the thing is, with the Vladimir off tier to the side, XL feels so much more comfortable push up. They will TP Sendo back in with full HP, and I think now is where they're going for that push. They have 5 members mid, and they're looking.
The fight's breaking out. Curb already being focused up. The Void Seeker connects onto Sendo. The silence is there. Krogson throws out the Hemo Plague. This is going to be the big flag drag combo. Redemption comes in. Up goes Kasing, and he comes back down into the fight. Inax is kiting away. As Yusa's already found himself one already. Exile gets himself a knockup. No last breath available. I lie. He has it. He jumps in, and it's going to be a 2 for 2. But Inax has the resets, has the HP to work with. He calms down and turns towards the inhibitor. Diabolus look to try and heal up as much as possible. But Exile with their champions, with their hyper carries, are trying to get on. Yusa goes golden. They try to throw the redemption up to keep him alive for the moment, but there's going to be Sendo getting himself a kill as Inax jumps in, looks for the double kill as he takes him down. That's going to be one into Exile. The base is going to be in shatters, and Diabolus lose their spot at the top of the tower.
Yeah, they are finally dethroned by XL, who look like they've found their momentum again. A great performance from them, and a great final team fight to end that one.
What an incredible game as well. They were scrappy fights, they were good fights, and XL, they look better. They look a lot more confident than we've seen in the last few weeks.
They had a win condition, and they played to it. There are a couple of shaky bits, but considering they're against Diabolus, who are the current top team of our league, they had a really solid performance. And in that last team fight, it did start to look like it was going towards Diabolus for a bit, but the big thing is, they didn't manage to get in that back line. They didn't manage to punish Inax, and he was just free to put so much damage into the side of Diabolus.
Well, it was hard to call the MVP, but Kasing is going to be the MVP for XL coming out of that game. Yeah. I mean, this man's Galio was pretty good. I mean, 47 kill participation doesn't really sell the story of what he did.
Yeah, I think it was the vision control was a crucial part. You saw that with the vision score he had there. Loads of control on his side, really solid shot call. And then the big thing was, every single time I saw the Vladimir, I saw Kasing trying to head over and answer it. Yeah. And that is the big thing that made it difficult, because when you see this Torn being charged up, it's essentially an area where the Vladimir just can't enter unless he uses his pool. And if you use your pool, you're caught out.
It's going to hurt. But with that, a lot can get changed here now. XL were tied with M&M. They're going to get themselves at least some points for this win. Yeah. And potentially, though, if they can hold up at the top of the tower for the final tower, that's massive for them.
The key thing is, because they got this point now, and they're now at the top of the tower, that's 4 points they've just received, guaranteed. Yeah. So they're now essentially at 16 points. So with them at 16, Fnatic at 14, and M&M at 12.
14. No, you're right. Sorry, you're right.
It's now up to M&M and Fnatic to play catch up if they want to get to the point where they're getting into second seed. It's still very much possible, but you know, these teams have to put the time in and make these wins. And now Diabolus back to the drawing board. They've had such a dominant past few weeks. And now they've just been knocked off the throne, and they're going to have to go through all these matches today and tomorrow again.
Well, catch-up starts right now as Week 6 is ending. We're going to start up with Week 7. Fnatic Rising will be taking on Barrage. That'll be coming up after the break. See you in a bit.